Hello and welcome to Sport for Business. It's the start of the English Premier League tonight when Arsenal play against the 50th team to appear in the Premier League. I'm delighted to be joined now by sports psychologist Michael Caulfield, who has been playing his part in making that happen. You're very welcome to Sport for Business, Michael.
Good to be here from the kit operations room, so it's very real.
The excitement must be huge all across West London now. What's it like? What's the atmosphere like for a club like Brentford, who have been traditionally a long way away from these rarefied heights, making it into the big time?
At the training ground, it's very calm because the routine, the process, if you like, is in place. But I pulled my car up this morning, Rob, and you could tell that something was in the air this week. It felt like a really important and above all exciting week, because we joked that normally at the first game of the last few seasons, we normally play Birmingham City and they normally win 1-0. We've played them so many times and they've won 1-0 when we should have won. And then on last Saturday, Birmingham played Sheffield United and they still won 1-0 when maybe they shouldn't have done. And I thought to myself, and we all commented this morning, we normally play Birmingham and we've got Arsenal tonight. It's extraordinary, really.
It is going to be great. Tell me, has it changed the club? Because I spent time living in West London as a QPR fan, unfortunately, but I was always very familiar with Brentford as being very much a community club. Nice Griffin Park Stadium as was. Now that's transferred into the Brentford Community Stadium. But has the success changed the nature of the club, or are you able to bring all of that with you?
Certainly, from where I sit, not at all, and not yet. Yes, we've got a lovely new stadium with the word community in it, because we don't have a worldwide global base of supporters. We have a local group of supporters. There's one in Lambourne, where I live, in horse racing country, would you believe? But in the main, you could throw a blanket over our supporter base, and it's in West London, just down the road from where I'm speaking to you this morning. So it hasn't changed us just yet. And one of the topics of conversation, Rob, although the team evolves and the game evolves and the sport evolves, we hope that the heart of the club doesn't really change that much. And we'd like to hang on to that ethos of it's about the players, it's about the community, and it's about the fans. And those three things matter.
And in terms of the scale, I mean, it is, it's kind of hard to comprehend some of the numbers that we see in football. Throughout this week, we've seen Paris Saint-Germain, buying in Lionel Messi, and it has a whole vibe of the New York Cosmos of the 1970s about it, for those of us old enough to remember. But Brentford is a long way away from that, and in fact, a long way away from the Arsenals and perhaps even the nearest neighbour, Chelsea. What is the scale of the difference between those mega millionaire clubs and what you've got in Brentford?
I can barely think of one comparison other than our pitch is the same size as those clubs you mentioned, and that's about where it really ends. They are global, dare I use the word, global brands. I've been to Africa, I've been to Asia, I've been to America, I've been to the Far East, and when you land at an airport, it's about Chelsea and it's about Arsenal and Man United and Man City. But if you ask where Brentford is, which is 4 miles away, no one has a clue. And I had a 10p bet with myself, a euro bet with myself, shall we say, when we won promotion on May the 29th. I said, I wonder how many text messages I'll get tonight saying, congratulations on going up with Brentwood. And I got 3, because to some people, we're still a shopping centre, or as we're known in this part of the world, as the song goes, we're just a bus stop in Hounslow, because that's literally the size of what we are. It's a bus stop in the Hounslow area of London. So, Rob, there are a few comparisons. We don't have a global supporter base. We don't have partners across the globe. We are a small community-based club playing now, allegedly, in the most watched and most competitive league in the world. And it's not a sporting miracle because it's been produced brilliantly and managed over the last 10 years, but I think it's a wonderful story that Brentford can join in the Premier League this season.
I think you've got the potential now to be everybody's second favourite team, and for those of us who are outside the Premier League, our favourite team for the season ahead as well. Let me just talk a little bit about you and your connection into the club as well, because we can lay claim a little bit of Irishness in you as well, in that you work with the Irish senior cricket team as well as others, Hampshire Cricket Club. You've worked with the Scottish Rugby Union as well over the time. How did the connection to Brentford come about in terms of your working capacity?
I'd worked in football at Hull City before under the leadership of Steve Bruce and Mick Phelan at Middlesbrough under Gareth Southgate. So I had a small reputation, if you like, of working in football. And I worked for a company called Sporting Edge. And both the combination of Sporting Edge and I think my own personal work alerted Brentford. And I got a phone call 4.5 years ago. And I met the two sporting directors, the manager, and now my line manager. I had 4 separate meetings with them over a period of 2 weeks, based around the Leaders Performance Conference in London, and also one away game in Derby. But it was they got recommended, and they kindly made a phone call. And one of the best things I've done the last few years was follow that phone call up on a number of occasions and meet as many people as I was asked to get this chance. It's a consultancy role, it's not a full-time role, so I'm by no means front of house here, Rob, and I had to ask them if I could speak to you this morning, obviously, but that's how it came about. And I still believe that in this very connected world of digital communications, you still need a good personal reference in life. And I would say that to a graduate and any student leaving university this year, you still need people to speak well of you in person as much as you do online.
Indeed, and there's no danger that we're going to lose you from the Cricket Ireland setup as well, because I know that you're very highly valued there by Warren and all of the team.
I hope there's no danger. There's certainly no danger on my behalf, because I will be touring with them towards the Cricket World Cup in October. I'm in touch with them this week on their training camp. I saw Paul Sterling last night before his game this evening for the 100, and I think I value that role as much as I value this role at Brentford, and I've been doing it for a long time now, on and off. And as you said, there's a bit of Irishness in me, both in all ways, Rob, and I love my work with Cricket Ireland. And again, I think with Brentford and Cricket Ireland, it's like Ireland playing India or England. We have no right sometimes to beat them, but guess what? We do.
We do indeed. Tell me, working across those number of different sports, sport for business is all about collaboration and shared learning and things like that. What are the kind of the key lessons that you see repeated again and again in successful teams across rugby, across horse racing, across soccer and across cricket?
If I can give you a short one-word answer, and I'm not good on short answers, relationships. Every single time, Rob, it's relationships. So you can either make them work or you can fall out over little things and petty things, and it can break a team, a business, a company, a country, even a government to pieces. I think you have to work at relationships on and off the pitch, but I will never move away from relationships. And I still read the works of the likes of Bill Shankly and coaches of yesteryear, who are the masters of building relationships with players, with staff and supporters, because at the end of it, it will always come back to the quality and strength of your relationship with those who might be above you and those you've got to form new relationships with. Every single time, it's relationships, Rob.
Well, listen, the very best of luck to you tonight and for the season ahead. It must be a good 30 years since we first met and worked together on jockey sponsorship when you were at the Jockeys Association and I was working with the Tote over in England. Long time, but you're right, relationships are hugely important. It has been today, as it always is, an absolute pleasure to speak to you, and the best of luck tonight. Thanks very much, Michael Caulfield from Just Caulfield, our sporting psychologist of choice.
Thank you.